Namaste, everybody. Welcome back to Soundarya Lahari Sadhana. Today, we are looking into Śloka number 25. That means we are quarter to this 100-verse composition by Śaṅkarācārya. So that's amazing how far we have come from last Navratri to here. So we will look further details into 25. Om Shri Matre Namah. May Devi's blessings be with you all, always. So we'll do a quick recap of our Śloka number 14, which we did last week, and then we will go a deep dive into Śloka 25. From 24 to 27, culminating in 27, it is very similar concept. All are meant to increase that bhakti in Devi. So we cannot do a surrender to anyone that we don't understand. So here, Śaṅkarācārya is making us understand what exactly is this Devi Tattva, what exactly is she. So through this vivid picture of Panchakrityam, Brahmā, Viṣṇu, Maheshwara, Srishti, Sthiti, Samharam, Śaṅkarācārya is trying to build that value about Devi to us so that we understand, because we cannot surrender to something that we don't know the value of. So here is Śaṅkarācārya's effort to bring us that knowledge of the value of Devi, or profundity of Devi Tattva. So that is what these verses are telling. So when we looked into the last verse, which was verse number 24, we saw that she is Panchakritya Parayana. She is doing that grand 5 cosmic actions. So she is behind all these. So those 5 cosmic actions were Srishti, Sthiti, Samharam, Tirodhanam, and Anugraham. So Srishti was done by Brahmā, Sthiti is by Viṣṇu, Samharam by Rudra, and Tirodhanam, Isha, and finally the Anugraham by Sadashiva. And Sadashiva and Shakti, that is the Shiva Shakti we are talking as that Chaitanya throughout this Tantra topic. So now, the same thing is elaborated here by just taking the first 3, major 3, the Srishti, Sthiti, Samharam, is taken in the verse 25 and elaborated. Again, showing that superiority of Devi is the content throughout Soundarya Lahari. And in here, particularly, Śaṅkarācārya is showing us that by using these 3 devatas. Now, we will touch on some of the concept that we learned before, just so that we can make the connections. And we will go deep dive. And also at the same time, I also want to say, what is in it for me, right? We learn all these things, so what, right? So we'll touch upon that as well. Ultimately, it is bhakti, but then how and why, those ones we will go in detail. So here, Devi is portrayed as the source of Triguna. So we'll see what the Triguna is. The line goes by, Trayanam Devanam Triguna Jenitanam Tava Shive Bhavet Puja Puja Tava Charanayorya Virachita Tadhahi Tvatpado Dvahana Mani Pithasya Nikate Stita Hyete Stita Hi Ete. Hi Ete becomes Hyete Shashwan Mukulita Karotamsa Makuta. This Shashwat Mukulita. Then when you combine Shashwat plus Mukulita becomes Shashwan Mukulita Karotamsa Makuta. So we'll go detail one by one. So in Sanskrit, the verses are not follow as a pattern of a sentence straightforward, right? So sometimes the subject will be at the end, the verb will be in the middle, and then object will be the beginning. So it is all scattered. And the making sense of that scattered words into one sentence in Sanskrit, it's called Anvayam. So if we go by Anvayam, we start from now the back. So first is Shive Tava Triguna Jenitanam Trayanam Devanam. So Shive means Devi. Shiva is Lord Shiva. When we say Dirgham, Shiva means Devi. Hraswam is Lord Shiva, Dirgham is Devi. So Shiva is Devi. And now if we are addressing that Shiva, it becomes Shive. So Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike. So that Shive is actually not Shiva. We are calling it for Devi. So here Shive Tava Triguna Janitanam. So, O Devi, O Shiva, the meaning of the word Shiva is auspicious. So, auspicious Parashakti or Shiva, Devi, Tava Triguna Janitanam. Tava means yours. Trigunam means three qualities or three modalities. Your three modalities. Janitana, generated, originated. So, originated from. So, the originated from your three modalities. What did originate from her? Trayanam Devanam. Trayanam means three. Devanam means the deities, the three devas that we are talking, which are Brahma, Viṣṇu, and Rudra. So these three devas or three deities originated from your Trigunam. So your Trigunam is given a name. That is, the name is Brahma, Viṣṇu, Shiva. That's it. We constantly talk about that. Let's not think about Devata Rupam, but these are actual gunams that we are visualizing them as person, because our human brain can kind of has difficulty understanding. So we put everything in form of person, right? So that is what it is. So Shive Tava Triguna Janitanam Trayanam Devanam. Right, Devi, from you originated Trigunam, and those Trigunam are essence behind the three devas, which is Brahma, Viṣṇu, and Rudra. Bhavet puja puja tava charana yorya virajita. Ya virajita, ya puja virajita. So there are two puja here. So one puja goes the first. Ya puja virajita. Whichever worship that I am doing, tava charanayo, your charana. So whatever puja I am doing at your feet becomes sa puja bhaved. So that puja becomes the puja of the Triguna Janidana that we just talked about. So this second one says that whatever puja I'm doing at the feet of you, Devi, that puja becomes the puja of Trayanam Devanam, of these three devas. Meaning, I don't have to do a separate puja for these three devas. Whatever puja I do, that automatically becomes the puja of these three, because these three are generated, originated from you yourself. Because your three guna are the one manifested as Brahma, Viṣṇu, and Rudra. Then next, Tadahi Tvatpado Dvahana Manipithasya Nikate Stida Hyede Shashvan Mukulita Karottamsa Makuta. Tvatpado Dvahana Manipithasya Nikate. Why are we saying that your puja becomes their puja? Because Tvatpado Dvahana Manipithasya Nikate. Nikate means near. In Hindi, there is a word called Nikat. So this is Nikate, means very near to what? Tvatpado Dvahana Manipithasya. So let's break it out. Tvatpado, your padam. Uddhana means lift. Uddhana manipithasya. So manipitham is the jewel studded pitham. We just did in the Dhyana Sloka. So that manipitham is where she has put her feet. So that manipitham, the footstool, where she has put her legs, and near to that, tadahi, indeed, stita means situated. Who are situated near her feet. He ete. Ete means these means referring to the three devatas. Three Trayanam Devanam is the ete here. So these three devatas are situated near your legs. How are they standing? They are situated as Shashwan Mukulita Karotamsa Makuta. They have a makutam, like what? Shashwat. Shashwat means forever, eternal. Eternally, Mukulita Karotam Samakuta. Mukulitam, literally Mukulam means bud. Mukulita Karam means bud like hand, means that you're folding your hand. Like this is how the bud look like. So their folded hands is what is mentioned here as Mukulita Karam. So these devatas are holding their hand in doing the puja or doing the worship of Devi, and they have put their karam where? On Karotamsa Makuta. They put it on top of their head. So this is like this. So they have put their, in ultimate reverence, these three devatas are put their hands in Anjali Mudra on top of their head like a Makutam. You can take it both meaning. The Makutam is the folded hands, or on top of the Makutam, they have kept their folded hands. Both are right. So there they are standing near your Manipita. So we saw that last week. We saw the picture of Devi and their mancham, Paramashiva Paryanga Nilaya. So these four devatas, not only Srishti Sthiti Samhara Devata, but also Isha, who is offering Tirodhanam. So those four are becoming the four legs of that manjam where she is seated, which means they are very close to her leg, right? So in full reverence, these devatas, these three devatas are very near to your leg. So whatever puja I do on your legs automatically becomes, if I put some flower on her feet, they are very nearby, Brahma, Viṣṇu, Rudra. So that puja automatically becomes a puja to these three devatas as well. So that's the word meaning. So let's read it together. O auspicious Parashakti Shiva, when your sacred feet are honored or worshipped, such worship is equivalent to venerating the three deities, Brahma, Viṣṇu, and Rudra. These divine embodiments of your three gunas, Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas are the three gunas we'll talk about in detail, are ever present, Shashwat, near your gem-decked footstool, respectfully joining their palms like buds above their crown in salutations to you. So that is Trayanam Devanam Triguna Janitanam Tava Shive Bhavet Puja Puja Tava Charana Yorya Virachita Tadahi Tvat Pado Tvahana Mani Pithasya Nikate Sthita Hyete Shashwan Mukulita Karotamsa Makuta. Last week we saw this picture where she is seated in the manjam on top of Sadashiva, and Sadashiva is that Shuddha Tattva, Shuddha Chaitanya, and on top of that, the one that is doing the Spandanam is Devi, and she is situated on top of that, and she is the one who's responsible for creating the entire prapancham, hence the red color. Red color is showing that the creation. Now you can see four people on the four side of the manjam. That is Brahma, Viṣṇu, Mahesha or Rudra, and the fourth person is Isha. But here in this verse, Isha is not referred. We are simply talking about the three Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara Devatas. All of them are staying very close to her feet on the floor or on the Manipitham. That is why the puja, that if I put some flowers on her feet, that automatically becomes the puja to Devata, because these Devatas have kept their hand in Anjali Mudra on top of their heads, doing that with ultimate devotion to Devi. So now, before we go into further details, I want to bring our old picture about Devata Sankalpam. So we talked about what is the Sankalpam of Devata. Here, Brahma, Viṣṇu, Shiva, Rudra are Devatas. They are shown as Triguna, the quality or the modalities, the nature, modalities of Devi is what these three are. So just flash back a little bit. So we talked about how the whole prapancham is created. In our Sanskriti, we don't consider time as linear thing. We consider time as cyclic. So there is creation, maintenance, dissolution, and then Tirodhanam, then Anugraham, where everything started creating again, right? So the manifestation and unmanifestation continuously happen like in a circle. So now there will be time for manifestation and there will be time for completely unmanifestation. During the unmanifested time, the Mahapralayam, only two people are existing, two people. Two things are existing, that is Shiva and Shakti. And Shakti is the Sakshi to that Shiva during that Mahapralaya time. So during this time, like we have different names for different duration of time, the Kalpa, the Yuga, the Manvantara and all that, which is all coming up in coming verses. We have this manifestation and unmanifestation happening on a cyclic pace. So first unmanifestation, there is no first or second because it is in a cyclic. So during the unmanifested time, there's only Shuddha Chaitanya that exists. There is nothing is manifested. So no creation exists. So this Shuddha Chaitanya only exists. So in that Shuddha Chaitanya, because of the anugraham of Sadashiva, Shakti started doing the spandana, right? Shakti is the one that is responsible for spandana, and that marks the origin of creation. So from that origin, first thing that with the spandana, we know any vibration creates sound. So from that sound, then everything comes out of that sound. So the things that's coming from that sound, it's not just one sound, it's multiple sound, but all sounds encompass into that one sound called pranava or om. So now so many different sounds comes during that spandana. And these different sounds, what rishis found is that combination of these sounds have particular guna. So now the rishis started recognizing those particular guna. For example, Om Gam Ganapadaye Nama. It's a particular a series of sound together. That particular sound has a guna of removing obstacles in our life and also to provide siddhi and buddhi. And then they gave a rupam to that gunam called Ganapati. So we started calling that as a devata called Ganesha. So that has a guna. So Ganesha has a mantra, Ganesha has a rupam. So this mantra, rupam, gunam, everything is devata. All are same. And in that terms, everything that was created after that has a guna. For example, we have guna. We have a combination of these three guna, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. We are all having that same set of gunams. This gunam is limited. So each devata's gunam is limited. For example, Ganesha will have a gunam. Lakshmi will have a gunam of giving samriddhi. Saraswati has a gunam, giving us jnanam and vijnana. That is to be understood. We use the example of electricity passing through different equipment, and each equipment, the electricity is one, which is coming, which is equivalent to here for Chaitanyam, the Shiva and Shakti. That is exactly the same, though no change, equivalent to electricity. But when electricity is passing through different equipment, different gunam comes. Similarly, these different devatas have a different gunam. So exactly same way that we should understand what these devatas, Brahma, Viṣṇu, Maheshwara. Srishti Sthiti Samharam as three devatas are what we are talking here. Śaṅkarācārya first time introducing the gunams here. Swami Krishnatmananda, he mentions this Srishti Sthiti Samharam in a funny way that consider Brahma as a production lead in a company, right? And Viṣṇu as an administration lead, and then finally the Shiva as a change management lead. So, but the CEO is Devi, right? So, once you understand that these three gunas are the ones that is that we are calling it as devata, so we gave a rupam so that we can pass it through stories and we understand this concept. So these are our tattvams, but understand even behind these rupams, always understand the tattva. So now let's understand the guna. So Rajas, Tattva, and Tamas, these are the three gunas. For creation, there should be some quality of creation. That quality of creation is the Rajas. Brahma is the Devata, and Shakti of that Devata is Saraswati. So Saraswati Namastubhyam, Varade Kamarupini. So what is the quality that we need for creation? We need desire, Kama. So we need a desire for creation. So anything can be created only with a desire. So whatever you are doing right now, there is a desire behind it. So that desire needs to be there for creation. And then there should be activity. So another quality is activity, restlessness. So these are all the Rajo Guna, Rajas dominant Guna. I'm not going deep dive into the Guna. So there is a series that Rajeshi and Avantiji has done on the law of karma. And I think it is a third video. I will send you the link that has gone much deeper into one whole class just to talk about the Guna. So you can understand more from there. So I'm not repeating here. So Rajoguna is the quality of creation. We talked about desire, activity. Those are all the qualities. So next is the Sattva-gunam. Sattva-gunam is the one that is dominant in Devata Viṣṇu, and it is a quality of sustenance. And Shakti is Lakshmi. And what is the thing that we need for sustaining or maintaining or to do the administrative work? Clarity and balance, harmony, wisdom, focus. All these things are required to run that department of maintenance. So then is the third guna of tamas, quality of dissolution. And Rudra is Rudra or Shiva, not the Shiva of the Shuddha Chaitanyam, but Shiva of the individual Devata. Then the Shakti is Parvati. Usually when we talk about Tamoguna, we talk about rest and lethargy and tiredness, sleeping, things like that. But that is the individually when we are talking about the human gunams, right? But when we are talking about Trigunam, here, we are not talking about the human gunam. We are talking about the divine qualities, right? Divine quality that originated, that pure divine qualities that originated from Devi is what we are talking. So The tamas here, the way that we understand is that it's the darkness of the womb, right? When we are talking about sleep, we say that in deep sleep stage, where our busy mind is finally shutting off completely and resting in that divine source, that we don't have the body, we don't have the mind, we don't have the intellect, nothing else exists, no relationship, nothing, no sadness, no happiness, nothing, right? So that deep sleep state is that we can understand from a human standpoint, from a divine standpoint. Before creation, this universe is at rest. There is only that Shuddha Chaitanyam exists. So in order for that restful prapancham, Rudra uses his quality, that tamas, as cosmic inertia, to stop all that fluctuations, all that creations and maintenance, all that things is stopped, and quite the ego of individual being and the ego of that, all the prapancha, and pull the entire universe back into that state of deep, undisturbed peace. So that is how we understand the tamas. Tamas is that the darkness of the womb, where Shuddha Chaitanyam only exists. So that is what the work of Shiva, so Rudra. So dissolve everything back to him, to back to that unmanifested face, right? So that is how we understand these three gunas, and these three gunas are given the three devata rupam. If we pray that these gunas will be in us. Saraswati, you pray to Saraswati, we get the Jnana Vijnanam, we pray to Ganesha, we get the Siddhi Buddhi, and the obstacles are removed. Lakshmi for all sort of wealth, all sort of samriddhi. Now let's understand this for us, right? Like, what is in it for me? How do I understand so that it helps me? So in a funny way, if we can proceed this, what it is saying is that we can either approach individual devatas for individual gunam. So Lakshmi for one, Ganesha for other, Saraswati for other, or here in this particular verse, it's talking about Brahmā for one, Viṣṇu for another, and Rudra for another gunam. So we can approach like a boutique approach, right? Like if you have to buy say shoes, you will go to Nike store. If you have to buy the smartphone, you will go to Apple store, and like that, right? So here, if you want wealth, you will go to the Lakshmi boutique, and then you might have to, but then make a separate trip to Ganesha for removing the obstacle, and another trip for Saraswati for wisdom. So you will have to make the individual trip. But if you go directly to the CEO, here the Divine Mother, she will make everything happen. She will just dial Brahma, Viṣṇu, Maheshwara and say that, you know what, this person needs so and so, make it happen, right? So this is kind of the picture that I want to bring. And then what Ādi Śaṅkarācārya here is saying that, why shop retail, right, at individual counters for these devatas when you can own them all and beyond by approaching our Divine Mother, Shakti? So then two questions comes in. So here it is showing the superiorities Devi, and then Devi is the one that is responsible every single action that's happening in the prapancham. So instead of taking all the actions happening, the major three action was taken, which is Srishti, Sthiti, and Samhara. So now, how do we understand? Obviously, the two major question that will come in our mind is that, oh, my Ishtadevata is Shiva. So now I have to surrender to Devi. So this is not how we understand. Don't get into Rupa. Again, Śaṅkarācārya, even though in Soundarya Lahari, he has kept Devi as a heroine here and as a supreme devata, but same person wrote Shivananda Lahari, same person wrote so many devatas, Shatkam, Ashtakam, so many of them, right? So now he didn't mean to stay with one devata. What he's saying is that stay with that tattvam. What is the tattvam here? There are multiple functions that's happening in this universe, and there is this divine that is beyond all these things that's making it happen. So if you stay with that tattvam, and then you go to Shivananda Lahari, or if you are a Shaktiya, then ultimately you will consider Shiva as that or superiority over these all functions. And then you go to Narayana, Viṣṇu, then Viṣṇu is the one that is making all these things happen, Panchakrityam, right? So it doesn't matter what your Ishtadevata is, that stick to that principle, because ultimately what do we want to do? We want to surrender, because surrendering and that bhakti element is absolutely necessary to clean our mind. not to get the jnanam. For jnanam is the one that will take us to enlightenment. But in order for getting the jnanam, we have to be cleaning us up. So to clean that up, we need to do the karma yoga and upasana yoga. So in order for that karma yoga to happen, it will not happen automatically. We will not be doing karma yoga on one day, that just like that, unless we understand. In order to understand that Ishwararpana buddhi, that surrendering, we will surrender only if we understand the value of something. So here is where Śaṅkarācārya is trying to bring that value to us. So what Devi is, so he's by step, he's revealing her nature. Her nature, again, that tattvam, that ultimate tattva's nature, he's revealing that to us so that we understand the value, and only to the things that we can understand, we can do the surrendering. So once we understand the value, it's easy for us to say that Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu or Sarvam Jagadimbiga Padaravindarpanamastu. We can say that, right? So that is one thing that we have to say. Don't confuse with the Ishtadevata with that tattva. So here, take the tattvam, and then it is easy for all of us to do that, the ultimate Sashtanga Pranamam, surrendering. So that surrendering will clean us up. So that will purify us. It has amazing power. So you would know that, like, we go purely to the Vedantic side, there is no Devata concept because we are talking Advaita. Nothing is separate. But let's take Ramana Maharshi, who is also the master of that Advaita Vedanta, where his main teaching is, who am I, right? But if you look, he is in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai, right? So, and he's always is looking into Arunachala as the answer. Nachur Swami mentioned this beautifully. So what's the connection between Arunachala and who am I? No connection, right? Because whatever is existing there, it's simply that I, that self or Atma, that is the one. So where is this Arunachala Shiva there? But the connection is that upasana. So only by doing the upasana, that's the rahasyam behind this. So only by doing the upasana of the Arunachala or whichever the Ishtadevata, we will be purified. Only in that purified mind, the jnanam will be lightened. So otherwise, we will be knowing all this Vedanta, but it will not become an anubhuti to us. It will not become a real experience for us. So if we want that jnanam to become as an anubhuti, we have to surrender. We have to do the karma yoga, and to do the karma yoga, bhakti is a very important element. So that surrendering, Ishwararpana buddhi. So what does karma yoga say? Whatever actions we do it with an Ishwararpana buddhi. In order for me to do that, I need to know, what am I surrendering to? Who am I surrendering to? The value of that needs to be realized. So value, I will know the devotion that comes through the bhakti. Right. So that's the place where bhakti stands in corresponding to jnanam. And we also saw in one of the class that parabhakti and jnanam is no different. So we saw that the fourth of the bhakta is the jnani. So we are talking about four bhakta: artha bhakta, artharthi bhakta, jitnyasu bhakta, and then fourth one comes as jnani. So for that parabhakta, the jnanam automatically comes. So because it is already our mind, body, the intellect, everything is purified. So in order to purify that, we have to do the surrendering. And that surrendering, how do we surrender? That Navadha Bhakti, the Sravanam, 9 of them that talked in Bhagavatam. So we can follow that. And the way that we are doing sadhana, we can follow that too. And slowly, we will clean us up. And then the jnanam will slowly start lighting in us. The one more point that I want to talk before we go to the sadhana about the significance of charanam. So this charanam keeps coming. Second line, Tava charana yorya virachita. Tava charanam. So what is the significance of the charanam? Why is it keep saying charanam? Why not hand? Why not head? Why not face? Right? So the charanam, we talked about a lot of in the past, but I also want to bring another point. So charanam is used for us to move from point A to point B. So it is to travel. That is what charanam is used. So here, where are we traveling to? We are traveling from ignorance to knowledge. Right now, we are ignorant. We don't understand essence of who am I, right? I don't know. So now I need to move from that stage to the stage of enlightenment, for the stage of jnanam, stage of knowledge. But literally looking into that, I am that. So which means the ignorance is in me and the knowledge is also in me. So it is a movement from me to me. So the I to I is that point. So which is a very subtle thing. So now only a guru can take us to that point A to point B, the ignorance to knowledge. So the meaning of guru, right? Gu means darkness and ru means dispel. So dispelling the darkness of ignorance is the one who is called as a guru. So here we took originally, when we started, we took the Sankalpa of Śaṅkarācārya as our guru to learn this. So he be our guru for taking us from point A to point B, right? So that is the charanam. The significance is that it helps us to move from point A to point B, and that the guru's charanam are the ones. Guru is the one who is taking that steps to instill that knowledge in the shishya, right? So that's why the guru's charanam is considered as ultimate reverence. So here, and also you understand that guru and devata, they are not different. Guru Brahma, Guru Viṣṇu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. No? So there is no difference between Guru and Devata. So that's why the charanam of Devata is important. Charanam of Guru is important in our scriptures. So with that, let's do one more time the verse. Trayanam Devanam Triguna Jenitanam Tava Shive Bhavet Puja Puja Tava Charana Yorya Virajita Tadahi Tvat Pado Dvahana Manipithasya Nikate Tidahyete Shashwan Mukulita Karotamsa Makuta. O auspicious Parashakti Shiva, when your sacred feet are honored, such worship is equivalent to worshipping the three deities, Brahma, Viṣṇu, and Rudra. These divine embodiments of your three gunas, Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas, are ever present, Shashwat, near your gem-decked footstool, Manipitam, respectfully joining their palms like buds, Anjali Mudra, above their crown in salutation to you. For your daily sadhana, the recommendation is to do meditation for 5 minutes, Guru Ganesha, Dhyana Slokam, and Manasa Puja. Don't forget to do the Manasa Puja daily. Soundarya Lahari Stotra Parayana, then Panchakshari 408 times, and then end with the Guru.
Trayanam Devanam Triguna-janitanam Tava Shive Bhavet Puja Puja Tava Charanayorya Virachita Tadha Hitvat Padodvahana Manipithasya Nikate Sthita Hete Shashwan Mukulita Karotam Samakuta.
Om Shri Matre Namah. Sarvam Shri Jagadambika Padara Vindarpanamastu.